Hello, my name is Mr. Johnson, and we're going to be working on a video on solving equations. The first thing you need to know when you solve equations is you have to compare it to a balance. On this side, I have stuff that I do know, so these are all ball bearings or marbles. Okay, so I have 4 marbles on this side. And on the other side, I have a magical container. The magical container is important because it holds things, but it does not have weight. That's why it's magical. But it is balancing out those 4 marbles. Therefore, you know that in that container there must be 4 marbles in order to balance that out. I could, of course, do the following. I could take 2 marbles away from this side, and I could take 2 marbles out of the container, and it would still stay balanced. Therefore, they are equal to each other. Okay? So using that same premise, we're going to be going through how you do simple equations. Here's the first one. X plus 5 equals 20. Hopefully you know what the answer is already, but if you didn't, this is what you're doing. Again, think of this as a balance. On this side I have 20 marbles. On this side I have the magical container, and I have 5 marbles. Okay? So I'm going to get rid of, from the side that is unknown, I'm going to get rid of these magical the ball bearings. So I'm going to subtract 5 from this side. I'm going to subtract 5 from this side, and I'm going to subtract 5 from this side. I'm going to be just left with the magical container on this side, and on the other side I'm going to do 20 minus 5, so I'm going to have 15. So there must be 15 ball bearings in the magical container. And sure enough, if I put 15 in for X, 15 plus 5 does equal 20, so that's a true statement. That's with addition. What do you do if it's a subtraction problem? Okay? So now I have a subtraction problem. That means I have a magical container, but it's missing 7 ball bearings in order to make it complete. So what I'm going to do is, down here I have a whole bunch of ball bearings that I can use. So I'm going to add 7 to this side, and I'm going to add 7 to this side. So I get X on this side because these 2 will cancel out, and that's my objective, to cancel those out. And on this side I'm going to wind up with 23. So a full container, that would be X, is equal to 23. So 23 minus 7 does equal 16. So again, I did that problem correctly. Let's move on to multiplication. Okay? 2 times some number is equal to 30. So on this side I have the 2 magical containers again. Okay? And on the other side I have the 30 ball bearings. So I'm going to divide them up into 2 equal pairings. Okay? So I'm going to divide this by 2, and I'm going to divide this by 2. When I divide this side by 2, the 2's will cancel out, because these 2 operations, multiplication and division, undo each other. So if I were to take something and multiply it by 2 and then divide it by 2, I would just get the original number back. So I'm now going to get X on this side, and on the other side I will get 15. And sure enough, if I take 2 times 15, that will equal 30. So again, you'll notice that I use the opposite operation in order to solve this. Let's see if it works in the next problem. I'm dividing now. I'm saying I have a magical container, and I'm dividing it into 4 groups, and it will equal 8. Well, using the same premises as I did with before, because if you look back here, in this one we had addition and we subtracted in order to find the answer. In this one we had subtraction and we added in order to find the answer. In this one we had multiplication and we divided in order to find the answer. Therefore, using that same premise, since we're dividing, we're going to use the opposite operation, so we're going to multiply. So I'm going to multiply this by 4, I'm going to multiply this by 4. When I multiply this by 4, these two things cancel out, because that will equal 1. 4 over 4 equals 1. And so I'm just going to get one magical container, or x. So on this side I'm going to get x, on the other side I'm going to get 32. And sure enough, 32 divided by 4 does equal 8. So that's a true statement. Now let's do something a little bit more difficult, where you have something being, you have two-step problems. So let's look at this one. I have 2 containers and I have 3 marbles. And on the other side I have 17 marbles. Okay? So I'm going to get rid of all the stuff that I know I can get rid of. So for example, this is the side that has the variable on it. I want to keep this by itself. I want to get everything I know on the other side. So I'm going to get rid of those 3 marbles there. So I'm going to subtract 3 from this side. I'm going to subtract 3 from this side. I'm going to wind up with 2x is equal to 14. Okay? Again, I take care of anything that's not connected to the variable. Here's the variable. The 3 is just sort of an add-on. So think of it as the balance again. I have 2 magical containers of which I do not know how many are in it. But I have 3 marbles rolling around. And on the other side I have 17 marbles. So I can get rid of these 3 marbles, and I can get rid of the other 3 marbles from the other side, and it will still stay balanced, which is what I have here. So these marbles, the 14 that I have, are evenly distributed into the two magical containers. So again, this is multiplication. In order to undo it, I'm going to divide. So I'm going to divide this by 2. I'm going to divide that by 2. So I'm going to get x is equal to 7. So there must be 7 ball bearings in each of the magical containers. And to check it, I put it back in the equation. So 2 times 7 is equal to 14. 14 plus 3 does equal 17, so I did the problem correctly. Let's do another one. Here's one with division. Okay? Again, here's the variable. Anything that's connected, anything that's not connected to it, so the 7 here, I want to get rid of first. So I'm going to get rid of the 7 first, and the way that I get rid of 7 that's being subtracted is to add. So I'm going to add 7 to this side, and I add 7 to the other side. So I get x over 2 is equal to 10. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Okay? So some number divided by 2 is equal to 10. This is division. The way that I undo division is to multiply. So I'm going to multiply this side by 2. And I'm going to multiply the other side by 2. These will cancel out because I'm going to divide the top by 2, the bottom by 2, and the top by 2. Okay, so those cancel out, become 1. We're going to get x over here. And on the other side I get 20. Now let's check and see if it works. 20 divided by 2 is equal to 10. 10 minus 7 does equal 7, so I did it correctly. And here's the last one, which is a challenge. Okay? Let's look at this one. Well, I'm going to use the distributive property. The distributive property says that I can distribute the 2 over the parenthesis. So I'm going to do 2 times x, that gives me 2x. And I'm going to do 2 times 4, and that gives me 8 is equal to 24. Okay? There is another way that we can do it, but we'll do it this way the first time. Okay? Now I'm just going to solve it like the problem that I did before. I need to get rid of the 8 because here's the variable term, so I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to take care of the 8 first. So I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. So you're going to get 2x on this side, and on the other side I'm going to get 16. Okay? Again, I'm going to undo the multiplication, so I'm going to divide by 2. I'm going to divide this side by 2, so I'm going to get x is equal to 8. Now I check it. I'm going to put 8 in there. 8 plus 4 equals 12. 12 times 2 equals 24, so I did the problem correctly. Now, I'm going to give you, you're going to take the quiz. that will be coming up later in the video and in the next part of the assignment. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it.